Hello oddities, welcome to a new second channel video. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of every single Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and Friday the 13th movie in honor of Halloween, the spooky day of the year, which I love very much. And I also love horror movies. I love these movies especially. These are of course the kings of the slasher genre. The slasher genre is my favorite genre of horror movies, and these are just the best ones. I mean, I'm sorry guys, I don't make the rules. Like Ghostface, Leatherface, Chucky, Saw, all those guys, like, they're cool and all, but they aren't on this level, alright? They are on the level of Freddy, Jason, and Michael, alright? Not even comparable. So we're going to be ranking all of the movies. Here I have the tier list all pulled up, and so I'm going to do this kind of in a weird order. So I'm going to be basically doing the first movie of each franchise, and so I'm going to go Halloween 1, Friday the 13th 1, Nightmare on Elm Street 1, and then I'm going to go to Halloween 2, Friday the 13th 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and then for the third movie, Halloween 3, Friday the 13th 3, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. So that kind of order. I don't know why I ordered it just like that. I don't know. It's just, I guess, to just keep it refreshing, so I'm not just talking about a singular series over and over again. But, you know, I could have just left it random. So, hey, whatever. I did it the way I wanted to do. So, we got, firstly, the first Halloween movie. And now, a lot of people would immediately put this in S tier. But I don't think I can do that. Now, is it a masterpiece? Yes. But in my personal opinion, do I enjoy this movie more than some of the other movies that are in this pack of movies, I guess? Do I enjoy it more? No. It's a masterpiece, but I'm going to put it in A tier. It's a really, really good movie. One of the best movies, just as a movie, just out of all of these. But I'm sorry, I just get more enjoyment out of some of these, and I can't realistically put it on the same level as movies that I care more about. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's going to be controversial, but I'm putting the original Halloween in A tier. All right, we're starting off with a bang. And now we have the original Friday the 13th. I mean, yeah, I'm going to put this in like D tier. This movie kind of sucks, really. You know, Jason wasn't the killer, and that's not like the only reason why I don't like it. It's definitely a big one though. But you know, just the characters are boring. Nothing really happens that much until people start dying, which is only like in the second, third act. And so there's a lot of just like downtime, just like characters sitting around. And it's really boring, but thankfully I think the movie's pretty short. So yeah, it's probably the Friday the 13th movie I least want to rewatch. Like, there's definitely like other Halloween movies, or not Halloween, but Friday the 13th movies that are worse. But I think if I had to go back and watch a Friday the 13th movie, this one would be like one of, if not the last ones, because it's just really boring compared to the other ones. Even the ones that are worse, like, I feel like they're still more entertaining. And now we have Nightmare on Elm Street. Listen, guys, I'm biased. All right. I'm biased. Freddy was my first, all right? He was my first one. Mortal Kombat 2011, Mortal Kombat 9, it introduced me to Freddy. Wasn't a great version of Freddy, but it introduced me to Freddy nonetheless. I'm biased. I got the original Nightmare on Elm Street in the S tier, but it's still a really, really good movie with an awesome concept. Like, I think out of these three, I don't know if it's even like deniable that Nightmare on Elm Street has the best concept out of the three. Like, Friday the 13th, like, the original is just like a mom goes crazy because her son died and starts killing people. Halloween, a bit better with just like this guy who's just like the embodiment of evil, just going around killing people for no discernible reason. But Nightmare on Elm Street, a guy kills you in your dreams and then it kills you in real life. Like, come on, guys. Come on. That's the coolest one by far. But yeah, Freddy, he was my OG. All right, guys. I know, I'm biased. I was literally him for Halloween. And I can't say that about Michael or Jason. I can't say that about Ghostface, but, you know, you can't call yourself a horror fan if you're not Ghostface for at least 1 year. All right, now we have Halloween 2. We're getting on to the second movies of the franchise. Halloween 2, it's between B and C. I'll put it at C tier. It's a high C tier, all right? It's very close to being B tier. It's one of the actually better Halloween sequels. It's the one that I think captures the magic of the original movie the best out of all of them, but that doesn't mean it's the best like Halloween sequel. It's one of the better ones just because Halloween doesn't really have a great track record. But yeah, I mean, I have it in C tier. There's not really much that's notable about the movie. I mean, it's just like a more, I guess, streamlined to the standard slasher movie version of the original. Like just more kills, bloodier kills, more creative kills. Michael's more, I guess, seen. He's more out there in the open. You have the hospital setting, which is good. Like definitely, it does feel like a sequel to the original movie more than any of the other ones, but I don't think it really comes close to the original movie in terms of just overall quality. So I have Halloween 2 at C tier. I don't know if that's controversial or not. I know some people like it, some people don't like it. I know one person who doesn't like it is John Carpenter, so that's kind of funny. But next we have Friday the 13th Part 2. And this is when I think the series definitely started getting better. I'm going to put this at B tier. I don't know if it's blasphemy to put Friday the 13th Part 2 over Halloween Part 2. I don't know at this point. I don't really follow what people's opinions on these movies are unless it's like in a very extreme view. But yeah, I think Part 2 is definitely when the movie started getting good, found their footing a little bit. Of course, didn't completely find their footing until I think Part 3 really set the tone for the Friday the 13th movies, but this one kind of set the structure out. And for the first one of the actual like Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees structure, it's pretty dang good. Like the main character, I forgot her name, but she's actually one of the better main characters of the Friday the 13th part, or just of the franchise. And the characters are a lot better. They're a lot more unique. You got the wheelchair guy. You got, I don't know, the wheelchair guy's pretty cool. But, you got some cool characters in there. And, like, there's a comic relief character that doesn't even die. Like, he's just there and, like, he leaves halfway through the movie. So that's kind of cool because, comic relief characters usually die in these movies. So, that was nice. And, yeah, it's a Jason movie. I mean, the first appearance of Jason. Of course, he had the sack head version with the eye cut out, which isn't like classic Jason, but it's still pretty intimidating. But Jason himself isn't really too scary in this movie. Like, I don't know if it's fair for me to like criticize any movie just based on like how scary they are, just because I don't get scared by movies like at all. I leave that for the video games. Video games, those can be scary, but movies, not really. So yeah, I mean, Jason, he's good in the movie. He's all right. I mean, it's not Jason, but it's a good version of Jason. Then we have Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I'll put it in... I don't like this movie. I really don't like this movie. It's weird. Like, it just, like, kind of tramples on, like, the whole concept of Freddy. Like, I don't know. I'll put it at E tier just because there's movies that are just so like that I just hate more, that I just hate more than this movie, because I don't know, like this movie, it's not really like a hate kind of movie, but it's just a movie that's just like super weird, super like, I don't know, it's not a good follow-up to the first movie. Like in the second movie, like you're already going, okay, let's bring Freddy into the real world. Where the entire like concept, the entire thing that's cool about Freddy is that he exists in the dream world. Plus, why would Freddy even want to go into the real world anyway? Because like he's way more powerful in the dream world. Yeah, so some of it just doesn't make sense. Got the freaking baby dogs with like baby masks at the end of the movie. You got Freddy, the I don't remember what the girl's name is, but the girl literally kisses Freddy and he melts to death. I'm sorry, I just can't like this movie. Like it's just too weird for me. All right, it's just too vast of a difference from what the first movie was trying to be. I will say though that the Freddy in the movie, that's probably the scariest, or I guess most intimidating version of Freddy. Freddy from this movie is pretty good. But other than that, yeah, I'm not a fan. And now we have Halloween 3. This is, of course, the weird black sheep of the Halloween franchise because it doesn't have Michael Myers or really anything to do with the previous movies. It's just something completely different. And I don't know, it's kind of weird to place it on this list because it is just so different from everything else. So I don't really know what to do with it, but I'll put it at B tier. It's actually a pretty good movie. There are some people who say it's like a masterpiece and all that. I don't know about all that, but it is a pretty good, just like Halloween movie to put on Halloween. Like, it's just a nice little movie. Like, I don't think it like is on the level of the first Halloween movie. Like, the first Halloween movie, like, you can watch that outside of Halloween and still be like, okay, this is a really, really good movie. But I feel like Halloween 3 only really works if it's like on Halloween. Like, you have like the Halloween feels to it. Other than that, I don't really see a reason why you would want to watch this movie. But yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about. I mean, you got the plot with the mastermind guy putting all these like masks on children to kill them because of the TV show and the haunted masks or whatever, and the robots with the orange juice coming out of their mouth and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a weird movie, but it's enjoyable, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's a very good Halloween movie. That's what I'll say. Not like Halloween as in the franchise, but Halloween as just like the holiday. And now we have Friday the 13th Part 3. This is really when the series like became what it is. But I don't think it's actually on the level of Part 2. I'm going to put it at C tier. Should I order these movies from left to right? I guess I will. I'd say Halloween 2 is better. As for this, yeah, I'd say Friday the 13th Part 2 is better. So yeah, I think Halloween 2 is better than this movie. I think Friday the 13th Part 3, like, yes, it definitely made the series what it is. And there's, like, you have to give it credit for that. But is it really, like, that notable? Is it really that great? You have all the 3D effects, which gets really annoying with all the stuff going in your face. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of just standard. It's kind of just there. It's kind of generic feeling, like, especially nowadays. Like, of course, back then, it was probably, like, stuff people ate up, enjoyed a lot. But nowadays, when you have so many other Friday the 13th movies that have probably done what this movie does just way better, especially the next one, which we'll get to later, yeah, I just think this movie kind of falls down, even compared to Part 2. Like, I don't think it's as good as Part 2 was. Like, I feel like if Part 2 had Jason with the hockey mask, then people would generally call that movie the best one, or one of the best ones. But because it doesn't have hockey mask Jason, people don't really rate it as high as even Part 3. Like, I hear most people say Part 3 is better than Part 2, but I legitimately feel like that's only because Jason gets the hockey mask in Part 3. But, I mean, people are entitled to their own opinions. And now we have Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. You guys are going to call me biased. No. Okay, it's not S tier. It's not S tier. I'll put it high A tier, but I still know you guys are going to call me biased. Like, listen, guys. I am biased, all right? Freddy was my first, all right? I enjoy these movies a lot more, but it's not only that, but it's just the concept, all right? Like, if you laid out these 3 movie concepts, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm going to gravitate towards Nightmare on Elm Street. That's just how I am. Like, I just hear that concept and I just go to it more than the other two, all right? Like, I feel like it's like, these movies are more fun. They're more creative than the other two, all right? And so I just think overall the Nightmare on Elm Street movies just are better. Like, it just is what it is. But, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 is, of course, probably most people's, like, I guess the fan favorite of the series. People really, really like this movie, and I definitely see why. It's really good. It's got that version of Freddy that I think most people like, where it's like, it's like a nice mix of like super silly Freddy, but also like the scary Freddy. That's what I hear a lot of people talk about with this movie. It's got all the characters. It's got the Dream Warriors where they're fighting back against Freddy. And this is when the kills started becoming way more creative with like the Wizard Master and like the, oh my god, the kill where like his friggin' tendons get like ripped out and like he gets walked around like a friggin' puppet. that is the best kill of the franchise. I'm telling you right now, that one's the best one. It's so creative. It's so good. What else do you have? You got the let's get high. And then he shoves the freaking needle fingers into her arms and stuff. And then you have, what is it? The most iconic kill of the whole movie. The TV, he grabs him, shoves him in the TV. Welcome to prime time. Like, come on, guys. Like, I don't know how you could, like, watch a Nightmare on Elm Street movie and not, like, rate it higher than these movies. All right? I'm sorry, man. Like, they're just too good. They're just better than all these. I'm sorry. But next, moving on, we have Halloween 4. Now, this movie has definitely grown on people over time. A lot more people are starting to appreciate Halloween 4 more. Probably just because the other sequels are just so much worse. But, yeah, of course, this is the one with, like, the weird mask. And this is when the mask started looking bad. It's not as bad as Halloween 5's mask, but definitely not great. Where will I put Halloween 4? I'm not as big a fan as some people are of this movie, especially recently. I'll put it... Well, is it better than Friday the 13th Part 3? I don't think so. I think I'm going to put it at the bottom of C tier for now. Because, I don't know, I just... Like, it's alright. Like, I don't know. I feel like people just rate this movie higher because, like, it's not as bad as, like, they thought it was. Or it's not as bad as the other Halloween sequels. But, like, I don't know, guys. Like... I mean, you know, Jamie's a cool character. Of course, you got Dr. Loomis returning. The return of Michael Myers, of course. There's some fun kills in there. I like the Rachel character. She's cool, but, like, at the same time, like, it just doesn't have that feel to it. It just don't got that kick that the original Halloween movie had. And I don't think a lot of the Halloween movies really have that kick or that essence to them that I think the original had. And I don't know. It makes me rate Halloween 4 lower, maybe than I should, just because I have, like, I guess higher expectations for it than, I don't know. I have higher expectations, and, you know, people have rated it higher than it probably deserves because of certain elements and, you know, the movie not being as bad as what people thought or other movies, and I don't know. I just watch it and I just don't enjoy it as much as I think some other people do. And I don't know if that's nostalgia from other people or if it's just like me being strict or I don't know. But yeah. But moving on from that, we got a really, really good movie, Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter. Where am I going to put this? I'm going to put it... You guys are not going to like me here. All right. Listen, I'm going to put it above the original Halloween. All right. I like Friday the 13th Final Chapter. I really, really like it. It's probably my favorite of the Friday the 13th movies. It's really good. I think it has everything. It's got good characters, Tommy Jarvis, but not only him, like the standard teenager characters are like better than average. So there's that. I think Jason is... Like, if you're going for human Jason, this is the best version of human Jason by far, I think. Got some great kills, creative kills. I love the corkscrew one where it's like, where's the corkscrew? Jason shoves it into his hand and like shoves a meat cleaver in his head. Like, you know, that was great. Yeah, I just think this movie has like everything you could want of a Friday the 13th movie, besides, I guess, like a super resilient Jason that's just like a beast of human nature, zombie Jason. Like, if you want that type of Jason, then you're probably looking towards like the later movies. But for this one, I don't know. I'm more of a fan of like kind of human Jason. Like, I like human Jason just a little bit more than I think zombie Jason, because it's a little more believable. It's a bit more like OG classic, and you know, you can still have like a tough, resilient, brutal Jason, even if he's like just a normal human. I think that even makes him cooler than if he's like a paranormal zombie and stuff like that. So, yeah, Final Chapter. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm sorry, like, people are gonna like roast me in the comments for putting certain movies above the original Halloween. I just enjoy these movies more, alright? That is what it is. And now people are gonna roast me even more because I have A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 as my favorite movie on this entire tier list. Alright, guys? A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, Dream Master, I think? Yeah, Dream Master. That one's the best one, alright? I don't even care. And yeah, I am biased, alright? It is nostalgia. This was the first horror movie, slasher movie I ever watched, alright? I liked it. I like this more than everything else. Like, I just have so much fun watching this movie. I think the kills are the most creative that they've ever been. With the freaking, okay, so you have like the dumbbell kill, like, and then like her arm snap, and like cockroach, like, hands come out of it, and like she becomes a cockroach. Like, guys, it's too good. I'm sorry. And then like you have what the kill with the waterbed. I didn't even know what that was when I was a kid first watching this movie. I didn't even know what a waterbed was, so I was so confused. Why is this bed made out of water? But I didn't even really care. Freddy came out. It's like, how is this for a wet dream? And then drowns him and stabs him. And that's sick. And then, like, the first kill of the movie even, like, I know a lot of people don't like the first few kills in this movie because it kills off a bunch of characters from the third movie. I don't really care that much. Yeah, they're good characters and all that, but, like, the kills are cool. So, yeah, and Freddy stabs him, and he's like, and, like, the guy's like, I'll see you in hell, and Freddy's like, tell him Freddy sent you. And, like, come on, like, this Freddy has the best one-liners, alright? I don't even care. Like, people say, like, oh, Freddy became too silly in this movie, yada, yada, yada. I don't care. He has the best one-liners. I think he's still pretty intimidating, pretty scary in this movie. Like, come on. This is the best movie. It's the most creative. It's the most dreamlike, I feel. Like, with, like, all the weird flashing colors and the gothic atmosphere, aesthetic. And, like, I love the line where he goes, like, welcome to Wonderland, Alice, because Alice is, like, the main character of the movie. And she's super cool. She's the best main character out of the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And I don't know, the movie's just really cool. And I like watching it. It's just like, when I watch it, it just like, something in my brain just like, is satisfied. It's just like, I don't know, it's just like, just a lot of sensory things. I don't know like how to describe it, but like, when I watch this movie, just my senses, like, they all just get satisfied, like my eyes, my ears, all that stuff. Like, it's just like, this is a nice, this entertaining movie to keep me awake, I guess. I don't know. But, you know, I'm going to stop meat riding this movie, and we're going to talk about a movie that is, like, on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to entertainment, Halloween 5. This movie, again, just like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I'm going to put it above that movie, actually. But just like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, it's not hate-worthy. It's like, if you want to go on F, you got to be hate-worthy. Like, I hate watching it. But Halloween 5 is so boring. Guys, it's not only boring, but it's also irritating. The characters, just everything about this movie. The fact that the best character in the movie can't even speak for most of it. Like, oh my god, the freaking cops with the clown music in the background. The mask Michael's wearing is terrible. This movie is not good. This movie is really not good. And you have, like, them trying to humanize Michael Myers, which, like, defeats the whole point. And I hate the fact that they use, like, the original mask on all the posters, even though the mask in the poster is clearly not the mask that's in the actual movie. I don't know why I'm even mentioning that. It doesn't really matter that much, but still, like, I don't know. And not only that, but, like, this movie is, like, so disrespectful to the ending of the last movie, and just the last movie in general. Yeah, Halloween 5 is not good. Halloween 5 is not good at all. I would not recommend watching it under any circumstance. But now we have Friday the 13th, Part 5. This one is interesting because, like, I don't know, I feel like, just like with Part 2, I feel like if the Jason in this movie was just Jason, then people would like it a whole lot more. Like, I feel like if it was Jason, it's not some other dude pretending to be Jason, then this would just be like another Friday the 13th movie that people watch and like just like a bunched in with all the other ones. But specifically because it's not Jason, people like don't like this movie. And I think that's kind of weird and disingenuous. Like, I don't like that it's not Jason either, but like to just throw the whole movie out, like throwing the baby out with the bag for just not having Jason in it is kind of weird because like at the end of the day, Roy Burns is like, he is basically Jason. Like, it's not really a difference. Like, you could cut out the ending of the movie and like no one would think it's any worse than the other ones. So I mean, yeah, this is probably the most gratuitous, like not in terms of like violence or anything, but in terms of you know, scenes of intimacy. I'll say that. Probably the most gratuitous of all of the Friday the 13th movies. So, you know, that's something. Don't watch this movie with your parents. But where am I going to put it? I'll put it above the first Friday the 13th movie in D tier. Like, it's a little below average, but like I think saying it's like way worse than the other movies is just weird, and I don't know why people do that. Like, it's a little below average for a Friday the 13th movie, especially with the reveal. Even I don't like the reveal, but to say it like it deserves like E or F tier just because like one like minor reveal that doesn't really at the end of the day change the movie that much, I think that's just kind of weird. But now we have A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. And I don't know, this one's such a weird one because sometimes like I think about this movie and I really don't like it, but other times like I think about it or I rewatch it and I'm just like, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. So I don't know how I'm feeling right now. Like I'm kind of caught in the middle between them. Like it's not a good movie. Like I'll say that right now. It's not a good movie. But there are things about it I like. There are things about it I dislike. I really like the first kill of the movie with Dan on the motorcycle. Like that one's great. The other two kills I don't really care for. Yeah, the Super Freddy kill is not great. But where am I gonna put this? I don't think I can put it above like Halloween 4 or any of those. I think I'll put it right in between Part 5 of Friday the 13th and the original Friday the 13th. I think D tier is where this movie goes. You know, like it's just a weird movie for me. Like, especially since the previous movie is so good in my opinion, and the next movie is so not good. Like, it's just like in this weird middle area, and I think D tier is where I'm going to put it. Just because like I don't really know what to do with it, but all I know is that it's not a good movie, but there are parts about it that I enjoy. I really like the concept of like Freddy invading the dreams of a child, like inside the mother's womb, and then like being able to use his dream powers and stuff, using that and come out and basically be resurrected again. So I think that's a really cool concept. I wish they did it better. I wish the kid wasn't in the dreams and stuff, and you know that whole weird plot line. I wish the movie didn't open with like with what the movie opened with. The birth scene and the mini Freddy popping out and running around. That was weird. But, you know, there are parts about it I like. There are parts about it I really don't like. It's definitely on the lower end of the not Friday the 13th. I don't know why I keep messing up the Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It's definitely on the lower echelons, but there's parts about it I enjoy. All right. Now we're moving on to the Part 6 movies. We got Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Not even Halloween Part 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Just Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. This one's not great either. I like it a little better than Halloween 5 just because it's not as boring. There are some cool kills in the movie. There's the freaking head exploding kill. That one's super good. But, you know, this movie just... The not disrespect per se, but just like the way they go about like explaining Michael Myers and his lore and his ethos in this movie is just so strange and confusing with the cult and the tattoo, the Arcana tattoo. That's basically what it is. Oh my god, this movie is just so weird. Like, I don't know if it's in the editor's version or the regular version, or if it's in both versions, but like apparently like Michael got someone pregnant, or like he got his own like what, niece pregnant. I don't know, man. This movie's so weird. This is so strange. It's just, I don't know. This is where the movie goes. Like it's slightly more entertaining than Halloween 5. I'll give it that, but it's definitely not great. It's got Paul Rudd in it. That's probably the most notable thing about it. And now we have part 6 of Friday the 13th. Jason Lives. This is another fan favorite for the Friday the 13th movies, and I think I'll put it in, the top of B tier. I think that's where Jason Lives will go for me. It's definitely a more fun movie than the previous Friday the 13th movies. It definitely goes for more entertainment, kind of funny comedy or comedic perspective on the Friday the 13th franchise. So I like that. I think the director said he wanted it to feel like one of the old Universal movies where Jason is a character like Frankenstein or the Mummy or not werewolf, but the Wolfman, like characters like that. And I think he did a pretty good job. This, of course, zombie Jason. Now I think the opening scene is really, really good, where they accidentally revive Jason and he like freaking Kano's a guy, and that was super cool. And the kills, like, they can be like really silly at times. Like there's a kill where he like throws a guy into a tree and like a smiley face is left behind in the tree, and that one was stupid. But I think for the most part the kills are pretty good. I do know this is kind of when the series started really getting affected by the whole MPAA, I think it was. Or is that the video game one? No, that's the ESRB. MPAA, where with the like threats of the X rating or NC-17 or whatever you want to call it, and so they couldn't show as much gore. So yeah, it didn't really affect this movie too much, but I know the next movie it got really bad. So yeah, Jason Lives. It's a nice, fun, little entertaining Friday the 13th movie. It goes for a different spin on the franchise, and I really like that about it. So I'll put it at the top of B tier. And now we have Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. This is not going anywhere above an E tier. But where in E tier? I'm biased, guys. I'm sorry. I'm biased. Alright, I'm putting it above both Halloween movies. Listen, it is entertaining in some aspects just because of the silliness of it. But like, it's not a good movie. It's not good. It doesn't handle the lore of the franchise. It doesn't respect the franchise very much. It is a cash grab just to be like, hey, Freddy's dying in this one. You should go see it because it's the last one. Like, that's the whole like point of the movie. And they didn't really try. Like, they had like all these silly scenes. They didn't even try to be like scary. Like, there's not a scene in this movie. Like, for each other Nightmare on Elm Street movie, you could say a scene that's like at least trying to be scary. There's not a single scene in this movie that's trying to be scary at all. Like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, just the silliness, the chalkboard death, like it's like the falling from the sky, falling on the spikes, and like Looney Tunes stuff, and the video game one. Oh, that was the worst one. Where he has the power glove. Yeah, this movie isn't good, but it's entertaining in some aspects. And Robert Englund, all right, that's why these movies. That's why I give more, not credit, but like leniency to the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, just because you have Robert Englund. With the other two, they're just silent killers. So like, I don't know, like the entertainment is kind of more limited compared to Nightmare on Elm Street, where you have Robert Englund, this specific actor, playing a specific version of the character, and maybe he doesn't always like give the performance you would want out of Freddy, but he's always entertaining, and I don't think you can deny that. So Freddy's Dead, I'm putting it above all these three other movies. Like, I just don't like them as much as I like Freddy's Dead. Like, that's just what it is. I'm not gonna like try and be I'm not gonna try and like sugarcoat it for you guys, like trying to like explain myself or anything. Like, that's just how I feel. I just don't like them as much. Oh, now we have Halloween H2O. Do I put it S tier? This movie's really good, guys. This movie's really, really good. I love this movie. I think this is the best follow-up to any Halloween movie that we've had so far. Like, this is the best sequel out of all the Halloween movies. And I don't know if I want to put it in S tier. Ah, screw it. I'm putting it at the bottom of S tier. Like, it's close to being an A tier. I'll say that, because like Nightmare on Elm Street, that's my OG. But I'm gonna put H2O in S tier. H2O is so good. Laurie in this movie is the best she has ever been by far. She is so cool. Michael, he could be better. Like, the mask definitely doesn't do him any favors in this movie. It's not a good mask at all, but just everything surrounding basically Michael. Like, Michael's probably the weakest part of the movie. I wouldn't even say he's bad or anything, but everything else about this movie is so good. Laurie's like the main character, kind of, and, she just steals the whole show and is the reason why this movie is an S tier. That final battle, the decapitation of Michael, guys, this movie is so good. I love this movie. Screw it. This is definitely S tier. I don't even know what I was thinking about putting it in A tier. This is an S tier movie. I don't even care. Laurie is the best part of it. She's the reason why the movie is an S tier. All right. Just the final battle alone is S tier worthy. And, I really, really like this movie. All right. It is what it is. Best Halloween movie. Probably better than any of the Friday the 13th movies, honestly. And now we have Friday the 13th, Part 7, A New Blood. This was the first appearance of Kane Hodder as Jason. So you had a Jason that was doing a lot more stunts, doing a lot more cool stuff, of course, with the introduction of a character with like telekinesis and stuff like that. It's an interesting movie. It's definitely more action-oriented. The third act is great. I won't even, you can't bash the third act at all. You can't even criticize it. It's really good. Kane Hodder, that third act is probably the best performance of Kane Hodder as Jason. You have the sleeping bag kill, but for the other kills, he's just butchered. It's funny, but the kills were butchered by the MPAA, because the kills in this movie, for the most part, aren't great. You have that one really, really good kill. There's one or two that are decent other than that one. But yeah, they just strip to the bone with this movie, with the kills. So I'll put it in C tier. I'll put it below Halloween 4. It's pretty okay. It's I don't know. For most of the movie, the first two acts, it's I don't know. It's not even standard Friday the 13th. It's just kind of this is whatever. And then the third act is really what puts this movie anywhere above a D tier. So yeah, it's pretty good just for the third act alone. It does get stupid again when the dad comes out of the water and ties up Jason, drowns him or whatever. That was stupid. But yeah, moving on. We have Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This one's always a weird one to rank because, all right, firstly, it's not really even a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It doesn't, it has Freddy in it, and he does Freddy things. He kills people. He threatens people. He scares people. But other than that, it doesn't even feel like the same genre. It doesn't even really feel like a slasher movie. It just feels like its own kind of thing. So it's, again, like something like Halloween 3, even though obviously that movie just had completely nothing to do with the other ones. But just when movies switch up like this, it's just so weird to try and rank them. But for New Nightmare, a lot of people really like this movie, and I think it's good, but I'm gonna put it at the bottom of A tier. That's where I'm gonna put it. I think it's pretty good, but I think people overrate it a little bit. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just because it's not really Freddy. It's a demon pretending to be Freddy, which is that's a cool concept, but it's not my Freddy, all right? Even in his design, I've never been the biggest fan of this movie. I don't know, it's just not your traditional Nightmare on Elm Street. The dream sequences aren't as creative, the kills aren't as creative, and so it's just a bit, I don't know, it's a little more lackluster in the parts of Nightmare on Elm Street that I really come for. But other than that sort of stuff, The movie's a really good movie, all right? Like, if we're talking about, like, just purely as a movie, it's probably second only to the original in terms of, like, how good of a movie it is, but there are other Nightmare on Elm Streets that I just enjoy a lot more. Okay, now we have the first F-tier movie. We have Halloween Resurrections. Or not Resurrections, plural, but Halloween Resurrection. Screw this movie, kills Laurie in like the opening 15 minutes, alright, and then it becomes like a found footage Halloween movie with like Busta Rhymes doing kung fu and then tasing Michael Myers in the nuts, and then Michael Myers goes like, oh, and like his voice echoes like a freaking ghost. And then like that's how Michael Myers is defeated, by being tased the balls by Busta Rhymes after getting beat up with kung fu. This movie is so terrible. Just for that like final scene alone, this movie is terrible. 50 minutes, dreadful, killing off Laurie like that. After H2O too, and retconning the H2O decapitation into being like just some random guy that Laurie accidentally killed because Michael Myers switched clothes with him. Like that's terrible. That's actually awful. And then Michael Myers comes back, kills Laurie, and then they have this game show inside the Michael Myers house, and just a bunch of dumb characters, annoying characters being, thankfully killed off, but like still, like not every single one of them gets killed off. But some of them still survive, like Busta Rhymes. He survives. The main female character survives, and I wish they would have died because they were also super annoying. Michael is terrible in this movie. I hate his mask. I hate the eyebrows on the mask. They are super exaggerated and distracting. I don't like that. I don't think there's anything good about this movie. Legitimately, I don't think there's a single thing that's good about this movie besides some of the annoying characters dying. That's literally the only thing that I can think of that's good. Yeah, awful movie. But now we have Jason Takes Manhattan. This one's hard for me because this is another one that's like nostalgic for me. This was one of, if not the first Friday the 13th movie I saw. And for a kid's brain, for a child's brain, I think this one is the one that like just is the more enticing out of all of them. This one feels the most like a kid would enjoy, which, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Of course, this movie is Jason Takes Manhattan, even though like 75% of its runtime is on a boat. So, totally Jason Taking Manhattan. There's only like one scene where he's even in Times Square. Other than that, they don't really do anything with the concept. He's just on a boat most of the movie. So, it's not good. I'll put it at E tier. I think it's... Oh, where do I put this? Oh my god, I don't know where to... I'll put it right here, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah. Jason Takes Manhattan. It has, like, one or two good scenes. But other than that, it's just kind of boring because you're waiting for this one thing that the movie is literally named after the whole time. And then as soon as they get to it, it only lasts, like, 12 minutes. And then the movie's over. So, yeah. Not the greatest. It is what it is. Like, I think this is the movie that gave us Freddy vs. Jason technically, because this is the movie that made Paramount go, okay, no more Friday the 13th movies, because this movie wasn't received well, didn't do well at the box office. So they sold it to New Line Cinema. They made some weird movies first before making Freddy vs. Jason, but they made Freddy vs. Jason in the end. So I guess that's a good thing that this movie did, but there's still not a lot of good things that the movie did. But speaking of which, Freddy vs. Jason. Now, a lot of the time, I try to downplay how much I like this movie, because there are people who say this movie's bad, there's people who say this movie's terrible, yada, yada, yada. But I don't care anymore, alright? I love this movie, and I'm going to put it right below A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, alright? I don't even care. There are people who put it in like C tier, D tier, like, oh, Jason isn't good in it, or yada, yada, yada. The winner should have been clear by the end, but there was no clear winner, yada, yada, yada. I don't care, alright? This movie is so sick. It has probably one of the best fight scenes, like, in all of cinema history. Alright, come on. They fight for, like, the last third of the movie. Like, just one continuous battle from the dream sequence fight where Freddy whoops Jason to the ending fights. Bro, alright, listen to me. A lot of people lean towards Jason winning the fights or anything. Bro, Freddy was whooping Jason the whole time, bro. Like, Jason, like, he didn't do anything but just, like, stand there and get hit, all right? Like, anytime there was sort of a kerfuffle, an exchange, bro, Freddy was pulling out some crazy martial art tactics, like the kicks and the freaking elbow drop. He elbow dropped Jason in the back. He was whooping Jason, all right? Even when they were, like, on the freaking docks and, he sliced Jason's fingers off, grabbed the freaking, like, his machete, took Jason's machetes from him and whacked him with it, and then, like, stabbed him in the face, all right? I don't even care. Freddy was destroying Jason for most of the fights, all right? Until the freaking other characters, the normal people came through and, like, saved Jason, all right? So I don't want to hear anyone saying Jason won, all right? Jason was getting destroyed by Freddy. Freddy was beating him so bad that the freaking Ex Machina normal characters had to come through and save Jason. Yeah, and there's a reason why Freddy is the A side, by the way. It's Freddy versus Jason, not Jason versus Freddy, because Freddy is the A side. Freddy is the more important one, all right? He has more relevance, all right? But, yeah. What were we talking about again? Oh, yeah, the movie's good, all right? I like the movie a lot, all right? I don't even care what anyone says. Oh, now moving on to a movie I don't like a lot. We have the original Rob Zombie Halloween. The first one. All right, we'll get to the second one later. This one I really don't like. I'm going to put it at the bottom of E tier. It's very close to being an F tier. I do not like Rob Zombie movies at all. They are vile. I think that's just the one word to describe them. Like, I'd say the best one is probably, what was it, the House of a Thousand Corpses, that one. And I haven't seen his most recent one, the Monsters one. The House of a Thousand Corpses, like, that one's still vile, but it's like, it feels not as gross as certain other stuff. Even this one, even the first Halloween, like, it's tame compared to a lot of the other stuff he does, which is saying something. But yeah, so, like, the first half of this movie is, like, the origin story of Michael Myers, which, again, defeats the point of Michael Myers. It's supposed to be scary, supposed to be just, like, evil, just because he's evil, not because, like, he grew up in a rough childhood or yada, yada, yada. And so that kind of sucks. And then the last half of the movie is just, like, a retread of the first John Carpenter movie, but worse, and that's just it, just worse. Like, just worse. So, yeah, just all the subtlety gone. Michael has been turned from the subtle, stalking character to a character that's, like, busting down walls, grabbing people, throwing them around, and smashing their head into stuff, and he's basically become Jason. Like, at the point of this movie, like, they just turned Michael into Jason. Like, there is a clear difference between the two, alright? Jason is the big, hulking, brutal one. Michael is the more stalking, kind of laid back, in the shadows, striking at any moment type character. While Jason's the one that's more upfront, destroying stuff. Alright? That's why Jason would destroy Michael in a fight. It goes Freddy, Jason, then Michael. Alright, that's the rankings, alright, for the what do they call it? The horror movie slasher villain fights, alright? Freddy's number one, alright? Pound for pound, best horror movie villain. But, yeah, so I just think this movie just, I don't know, it's just defeats a lot of the points of Michael's character, and also is just a vile movie. Speaking of which, we have Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. This one's another one that isn't great. We haven't been on a good streak, and I look at the next few movies we have, and it doesn't sound like we're gonna get any better. Where do I put this? This is definitely E tier. It's not F tier worthy or anything. We have a lot of E tiers for some reason. Yeah, I'd say it's worse than Freddy's Revenge. Yeah, Jason Goes to Hell. just another really strange movie. Like, okay, so Jason's like now like a demon paranormal force. Like, of course he was a zombie, he was technically paranormal, but now he's like paranormal, like spirit and stuff, infecting and possessing people into being Jason. Of course Jason dies in like the first 10 minutes of the movie. He gets like blown up, and then like a coroner eats his heart and gets possessed by him, and like the coroner, like possessed by Jason, goes around kills some people, then possesses another guy, and they become Jason, and just like a bunch of people becoming Jason before at the end Jason possesses like a relative of him, and for some reason that somehow resurrects Jason just as Jason, and then like they get out a dagger and stab him with it, and it sends him to hell. So yeah, this movie is strange and weird, and I don't like it. There's some good things about it. I think the practical effects are really good. There's like a scene where this guy melts and like his jaw melts off on the floor, which looked really good. There's of course the famous kill from the movie where she's in the tent, and then like she gets stabbed with, I don't know what it was, but like a sharp thing, and then like Jason, or not Jason, but like the person possessed by Jason, like pulls it up and like it slices her in half like through her shoulder, and like she, and so that's a really good kill. I think there's some other pretty decent ones in there, so that's probably the best thing about the movie. But yeah, you can definitely tell like New Line was more like Freddy oriented, because when they made this movie they just made it really weird and paranormal, and like leave that stuff to Freddy, all right? Like, if this was a Freddy movie, maybe it could work a bit better. It would be probably a better version of Part 2 if this was a Freddy movie. Oh, speaking of Freddy movies, oh god. This might be the worst movie on this whole list. Like, it's between this and Halloween 2, which we're going to get to. Not the original Halloween 2, but the Rob Zombie Halloween 2. This one definitely goes in F tier. It's definitely the worst one we've had so far. This is just such a terrible movie. Like, I shouldn't even have to say that. Like, you just look at this movie and you're just like, this is the worst thing ever. And it's crazy to think this was my introduction to the character. Well, not like literally my introduction to the character, but this character was my introduction to Freddy, because this is the version of Freddy that was in Mortal Kombat. So, you know, I wish I just like watched one of the original movies first before playing Mortal Kombat, or before he was in Mortal Kombat. But no, I had to be introduced to this version of the character who sucks. But yeah, okay, so other than just Freddy himself not being great, and like the CGI on him being terrible, and just the makeup and the CGI on him being awful, and the whole debacle with him being a kid diddler, not ideal. But other than that, the characters are boring. The new version of Nancy was awful, terrible. I hate Quentin. I hate him in this movie. I hate him in Dead by Daylight. I hate Quentin. All right, he looks like he's about to fall asleep half the time, and that's like, it sounds like a good thing, but like it's not a good thing in terms of just like acting wise. Just like every sentence your actor sounds like he's about to fall asleep, not because like the character's sleepy, but just because like he doesn't want to be there. You know, not great. You know, Jackie Earl Haley as Freddy, he tries, but it doesn't work. All right, no one can be Freddy other than Robert Englund, at least not anytime soon. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's ever going to be another Nightmare on Elm Street movie that's good. Like, I don't know. This is the last one we've had, actually. So that means it's been, god dang, 13 years since the last Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and we went out with this. That's dumb. That's stupid. That's awful. But yeah, it's just awful movie all around. The CGI is terrible. The CGI replacing practical effects was not great. Never do that again. And yeah, I just never want to ever be reminded of this movie again. Another movie I don't want to be reminded of ever again is Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie. Oh, it's so close between these two. This movie is even more. Okay, so this movie is supposed to be like, put it back here. Let's put it back for a second. This movie is like So basically, after the first movie, Rob Zombie didn't want to do a sequel because I think he had like a terrible experience making the first movie, so he just didn't want to do another one. But the studio was like, no, the first one made so much money. If you make another one, you can just do whatever you want. And Rob Zombie definitely did whatever he wanted because the movie is so strange. There's music videos during the freaking movie, just playing in the middle of it. Laurie is awful. I get she's supposed to be traumatized from the first movie, but she is just so annoying. Okay, I guess I know that's realistic. All right, I know it's realistic. Like sometimes it's just how life goes. Like people become annoying after being traumatized. But still, man, like I don't want to see a movie about that. I don't want to see a Halloween movie about that. Michael sucks. Michael doesn't even wear his mask most of the time. He's just walking around with like a full beard, like literally looking like Rob Zombie if he was more intimidating, I guess. Yeah, Loomis sucks in this movie so bad. He's not even traumatized and he's annoying. That's just how he is. Say the only good things about this movie are, I was about to call her Jamie, but the actress who played Jamie, what's her name again? I don't remember her name, but she's in this movie. She was also in the first movie. She's a lot better in this one because in the first one she was kind of annoying because she was just like a teenager. But in this movie she was a lot better. She was pretty likable in this movie. And then her dad, played by Brad Dourif, who plays Chucky, and that was cool. So yeah, those are the two good things about this movie. Everything else is awful. The white horse stuff with Michael's mom and Laurie, like I don't know, like the dream sequences and the. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. All right, oh my god, it's such a I wish I could just like overlap them and place them on top of each other. They're like, oh my god. You know what? I'll say it's a little better than the remake, just because, you know, with Freddy being my OG, you know, I have to care a little bit more about Freddy having a bad movie than Michael. Michael was literally, out of all of them, at least out of all these characters, like he was the last one that I got into. So I gotta put Freddy at the bottom. And now we have Jason X, the time Jason went to space and turned into Uber Jason, Robo Cyborg Jason. This movie is very entertaining. It's kind of hard to rank on a list just because like it's not really even trying to be a good movie, but it's very entertaining. I'll put it at the top of D tier. You know, I find more enjoyment out of it than all the movies below it, basically. So, you know, it's a pretty fun movie, and it's a very nice refresher after those last two. So, yeah, I mean, like, you got the android girl who's pretty cool with the, I don't know, like the guns and stuff, and like just the aesthetic of like being on a spaceship is pretty cool. Just like a nice like detour from everything else from all of these movies just is very nice, and just having this different setting with a lot of unique things and a lot of creative things you could do, like with the like video game sequence where they're like in virtual reality, and then Jason kills them in virtual reality, and then after killing him in virtual reality, he kills him in real life, which is pretty cool. I do wish we got more Uber Jason, because Jason spends most of the movie as just regular Jason, and I think it's only in the like third act, like maybe not even the full third act. We'll see that's like the half of the third act is where he's Uber Jason. So, you know, I wish there was a little bit more of that, but regular Jason's still cool though too, and he has the liquid nitrogen kill, which is like one of the most famous kills in the whole franchise. So, you know, there's good parts about the movie. It's not a good movie, but it's very entertaining. All right, so I'll put it at top of D tier. Honestly, I'm tempted to put it in C tier, but I just don't know if I can do that. I don't think I can put it on the level of movies that are objectively better. But now we have the start of the newest Halloween timeline. The third, fourth Halloween timeline, fifth, maybe even. All right, so you got the original movies, the original 6 or 5 because Halloween 3 isn't included. But so the original timeline with Halloween 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. You have Halloween 3. You have the H2O timeline. you have the Rob Zombie timeline. So yeah, this is the 5th timeline. So we got the first Halloween 2018. I really like this movie. I'm not gonna put it over the original. I'm not gonna put it over New Nightmare. I'm gonna put it at the top of B tier. I'm not gonna put it at A tier. I don't know why it's not letting me. There you go. I'll put it at the top of B tier. This movie is really good. Some people have lessened their opinion on it as time has went on. I don't agree. I think it's still a pretty good movie. Comparing it to the ones in A tier, yeah, I don't think I can put it that high. And I realized that as soon as I put them next to the movies at A tier. But yeah, it's a good, solid Halloween movie, which we really needed after a lot of not great stuff. It's not as good as H2O or anything. I think the superior movie timeline, I guess, is Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween H2O. Ignore Resurrection. That movie does not exist. If you watch that trilogy, I think that's the best timeline you could go with for the Halloween movies. Even though Halloween 2 isn't my favorite or anything, Halloween H2O and the original Halloween, really, really good. But yeah, this Halloween 2018 movie is also a really good follow-up to the original. I just wish the next 2 movies that came after that were better, because then that might have been the best Halloween timeline. But yeah, we'll get to the other 2. Now we have the Friday the 13th remake. This one's just another Friday the 13th movie that's kind of just pretty decent, I guess. I think I'll put this. I'll put it below Halloween 4. I'm just not I just naturally don't really like remakes that much. So maybe I should put it above Halloween 4 and maybe even Friday the 13th Part 3, but I'm just not a remake guy, fan, whatever. So yeah, I have Friday the 13th pretty low compared to what I think a lot of people would put it. It is nice that it's not a retread of the first movie, because that would suck. It's a combination of 2 and 3, I think. Not really 4. I mean, you could include 4, I guess. There's some similarities, but it's mostly 2 and 3, which is nice because you got the Sackhead Jason, and then later on you have Hockey Mask Jason. And for the most part, I think not even comparing it to 2 and 3, it mostly just does its own thing with a completely original story. So I guess that's nice. You have the whole guy trying to find his sister, I think, who Jason has locked in his basement because she looks like his mom, which, I guess that's a cool little thing you can do with Jason. And the characters aren't great for the most part, but there are a few cool ones, I guess, that are decent. I really like the character that you think is the final girl, but then she gets killed, and that was pretty cool. I really like that part of the movie. Jason, a lot of people really like this Jason because he's super violent, super intense, I guess. He's running at people, he's chucking stuff, he's throwing people onto things, and stuff like that. So he's very intense, very violent Jason. He's not really much of a stalker type, which I like because that's how Jason should be. And yeah, I like this version of Jason. But yeah, like I said, just not a remake guy. Just not a remake guy. Alright, now we have the last 2 movies, which are both Halloween movies, because we haven't gotten a Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th movie in a while. And specifically Friday the 13th, I don't think we're going to get another one of those for quite a while because of the lawsuit. I don't know what's going on with Nightmare on Elm Street. Alright, we got Halloween Kills. I can't put it in E tier. I'll put it at the bottom of D tier. The movie is really not good in my opinion. I think it's a huge letdown going from 2018 to Halloween Kills. I think there was a 3-year difference in release from Halloween 2018 to this movie. I think it came out in 2021. And yeah, this movie is just, it's such a disappointment. I remember being very hyped for this movie because not only is it a slasher movie franchise that's actually continuing, other than the other 2 franchises we're talking about in this video, which just haven't had anything for years, besides I guess the game Friday the 13th, which it's not a thing anymore. But we had another slasher movie, and I was very excited for Halloween Kills because they were saying like the kills are gonna be awesome. That's why it's called Halloween Kills, and there's gonna be a super high body count. And I thought, okay, this movie's gonna be super cool, but it's not just only gonna focus on kills, right? It's not gonna sacrifice the story for the kills and make everything else super lame and stuff. But that is what they did. Like, oh my god, they like the kills. They're not even like anything spectacular. Like to market the whole movie around the kills was kind of weird because they're not even that like amazing or anything. Like there's definitely like specifically Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th movies like have way better kills than anything that's in this movie. And so when you have all the other stuff like Laurie just being in the hospital the whole time, not really doing anything. You have like the weird subplot with the dude like that people think is Michael Myers, even though it's clearly not Michael Myers. And I don't know, it's just such a weird like direction to go in, and it's just such a like I don't know, I guess passive movie. Like I don't know, nothing really changes that much. Like you could have Halloween 2018 and then go into Halloween Ends, and like I feel like nothing really matters in this movie. Like nothing that happens in this movie really matters that much. Besides, I guess, the one person dying, the middle of the Strode generations, you have Laurie's granddaughter and then Laurie's daughter. So Laurie's daughter dies. Like, that's the most important thing that happens in the movie. If that didn't happen, like, you could literally go into... This movie literally doesn't matter. If that doesn't happen, this movie doesn't matter. Like, nothing happens in it, basically. Because most of the characters that die are just, like, completely new characters that are introduced. So, that's the only character that, like, even matters, like, at all. The fact that they died. In a movie called Halloween Kills, you want to have characters that die that matter. And, yeah. But, unfortunately, it doesn't get better from here. It gets worse. Halloween Ends. This movie is so bad. Like, I don't understand what the thought process was behind this movie. I feel like they were literally just trying to be controversial for the sake of being controversial. Put it right below Jason Goes to Hell. Like, I don't know, like, having, like, this random guy be the new, like try to be the new killer. Like, set him up as the new killer for the whole movie. Have him be, like, the main character for the whole movie. And then to just kill him off and have the standard Laurie-Michael fight. Like, that's just such a weird direction to go in. Like, if you're going to set him up as, like, the new Michael Myers or whatever, then at least commit to that. Like, I wouldn't like that, but at least commit to that, all right? If you're going to have new ideas, do risky things, then just at least commit to it. And not just, like, kill him off at the final act and have Laurie fight Michael and kill him, which we've seen a billion times, so. Yeah, I don't know why this movie... I don't know why people... the people that made this movie thought... Like, there was not a single person who was like, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe we should do something that's, like, more focused on Laurie and Michael for what's supposed to be the final movie of all Halloween... The final movies for all final Halloween movies and stuff like that. Maybe we should do something that's a bit more personal to Laurie and Michael. But they were just like, nah. It's like, let's introduce a new character and have him be the main focus and then just kill him off and have the standard Laurie-Michael fight at the end. Because that's a good idea, right? Yeah. No. This movie is not good. But you know what? That's our tier list over. And... I think this is going to be... I don't know. Is this controversial? Do people agree with most of my picks? Or do people not agree with most of my picks? I don't know. Like, I know the F tier is going to be pretty widely agreed upon. Like, I know there's some people who like Halloween too. I think most people are weirdos. But other than that, Resurrection, Nightmare on Elm Street, Remake, nobody likes those. E tier, I mean... Besides, maybe Friday the 13th Part 2, and maybe the original Rob Zombie remake. I think most people would agree with my picks there. D tier, maybe Jason X, maybe Part 5, Kills. Some people might have Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 a little lower. Yeah, I think it's like not anything people get mad over. C tier, Halloween 2 being that low might irk some people. Friday the 13th, the remake, might be a little bit too low for some people. Halloween 4 might be too low for some people. But overall, again, like D tier, not something like people are going to get super mad over. B tier, yeah, pretty standard again. Like, I don't think anyone really is going to disagree too much, besides maybe Jason Lives being a little too low. A tier having Halloween in it and having Halloween not being S tier. The original is going to definitely irk some people. Like, that's probably the most controversial decision. Oh, besides Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, but I'll get to that. Yeah, Halloween being that low is gonna probably irk some people. Freddy vs. Jason being that high might irk some people. But yeah, and then S tier, of course, having a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, which like is quite divisive for a lot of people. Like, there's people who like the movie, there's people who don't like it, there's people who think it's okay. There's a lot of different opinions on it. But it being that high, I don't think there's anyone who's rating it that high. But come on, I'm sticking with my opinion. I'm sticking with what I love, and what I love is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. But yeah, that's my tier list done. You guys let me know what you thought of my Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween tier list. Yeah, that's, I guess, all I have to say about it. I definitely want to do more tier lists in the future. More horror movie tier lists would be cool. I don't know. I don't know. Like, you guys let me know in the comments what you want to see next from either horror or from tier lists. Remember, this channel is just for everything that's not Mortal Kombat. If it's Mortal Kombat related, then you can comment it on my main channel. But for anything that's not Mortal Kombat related, you guys let me know what I should do. And that's it. Yeah. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like the video. All that stuff. Check out my main channel if you haven't already. And with that being said, that's what it's for, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.